Hello, Ashley, and is it Aury?
Yeah.
Okay, Aury, I'm Philippe from Taj Mag. You guys are playing some brilliant neurologists in the series Brilliant Minds. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
um, so, how does this show different from other medical dramas that you're aware of that you have seen?
Ari,
Oh,
you're the expert on medical drama.
I am a
Mhm.
diehard Grey's Anatomy fan from youth. So I mean, what's different about our show is that, you're not on the surface level. You're not getting the blood, you're not getting the incredibly traumatic, like visibly traumatic physical circumstances. You're not getting two people skewered together on a pole where one of them has to be sacrificed in order to have the other one live, which was an excellent episode of Grey's.
I was like, is this real? It sounds like a horror movie right now.
Real. It's real. Sandra Oh is not getting impaled with an icicle and saved by her future husband, whose fetus she will abort, and then he'll cheat on her because he blames her for killing the baby. Like we're not having quite that access point medically, but fundamentally, I think what sets us apart and what makes us stronger, in my opinion, of course, I'm quite biased, is that like you really get to dive into the life of each of the characters, and it gives us the opportunity to learn something about each of our doctors through every patient, because we're exploring their mind, we're exploring their, and because of how Oliver Sacks practiced medicine, it was not the traditional way that you would imagine. It was getting into the psyche of the people that he's treating, trying to understand what their home life is like, what their work life is like. And there's such a personal aspect of it that allows us to really explore the lives of the characters in tandem with each of the patients.
Well spoken. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so this series is about some magical medical breakthroughs. Have you guys ever witnessed or heard of medical miracles in your lifetime?
Oh, what a good question.
I got them. I got them, Ashley.
Oh man, that is a great question. My brother had a miracle. He stopped breathing and then came back to life, I guess. Is that a that's a miracle, I
That's
think.
that's a that's a miracle right there. Sure.
Yeah.
What about you, Ari?
Um, I'm trying to think. This is not necessarily a medical miracle, but one time I was taking one of those monstrosities of electric city bikes from my girlfriend's house at the time in Queens back to Brooklyn, and I was in a great mood. I just said goodbye to her. The relationship was fresh, what I love. And I'm riding through Queens, and I'm looking around at all the beautiful apartments around me and like the ivy crawling over. It's a lovely spring day. And what I didn't realize is that there was like a giant pothole directly in front of me. So I like go over, and there's no shock absorber. This is a public service announcement.
You have a helmet?
No, I was not wearing a helmet because I was riding a city bike, and it was very
Okay.
responsible. Also, I am a New York City biker. Like I bike. I don't really take electric bikes, but on that day I was like, I gotta get home faster. I'm going to Brooklyn from Queens. It's kind of a long commute. So I was like, I'll treat myself to one of these new silver city bikes. Nobody should ride these city bikes. I haven't gotten on one since. They have no shock absorption. I went over this pothole, try to get control of the bike, lose it, fall. And I like immediate goose egg touched my head, and I'm bleeding. I've road rash, and I'm like, oh my God, I smacked my head on the pavement going like, probably about 15 miles. I don't think they go 50 faster than 15, but they might. I should Google it. And I remember laying there on the pavement and just saying like, oh my God, I'm gonna die here. This is the end. And then a nice man and his 5-year-old daughter walked me to an urgent care, and I did survive. So
You
that's
did?
a
You did? Yeah, I was gonna
miracle.
say you did.
I live to tell the tale.
It's really a
Okay,
horrifying
so,
story.
so I want to bring up some of your characters from the past for both of you. So I want to
Oh my
start with
gosh.
Ashley. I know, yeah, I know. So Ashley,
Sir.
what if Erica had to treat Becky from Utopia? What would that encounter? What would happen with that encounter?
Uh, That's such a fun question. If Becky had to be treated by Erica, honestly, I think it would be okay because Becky is so kind and like doesn't want to cause waves and like wants to be everybody's friend that like Erica would probably run all over her and be like, this is the problem. This is kind of going to fix it and do it. And Becky would be like, okay, sounds good. Thank you so much for all of your help. So it would be a very easy interaction for Erica. And Becky would walk away with tons of questions that she hadn't asked because she'd be very intimidated by Erica's energy.
Okay, for Ari, for you, what if Dana had to treat Emily from Leverage? How would that encounter look? What would that encounter look like?
Oh, um, I think similarly, Emily is a lot more like subdued and kind of she's anxious, but in a very different way than Dana is anxious. So maybe like I think that Dana could really bring Emily out of her shell. And like maybe this is a really messed up thing for me to say, but they probably would be really good for each other romantically.
Wow.
Well, I just think that like Dana, like Dana has this kind of like cool affront and she's like she says what she's thinking and she doesn't really care what anybody else thinks, and I think Emily cares a lot about what everybody else thinks. So yeah, I mean that'd be interesting to see that.
That's funny.
That is funny. It's really good. Actually, well, you gotta give your girl Erica some advice on her love life. What advice would you give her? Because I know she's kind of closed off.
I would say like just have fun. Have fun. It's okay. Everything does not have to be life or death. The hospital is life or death. You can just live in your personal life. And then if it all falls apart, then you start over. You'll be okay, girl. You'll be okay.
Okay, so what do you think? What do you think each character likes? What do they see in Dr. Wolf, and what makes them distrust him so much?
I think Erica sees a side of herself that she isn't. Like Dr. Wolf is so not by the book, and Erica is absolutely by the book. So I think she's very intrigued by the way that he practices medicine and the way that he views his patients, because I think Erica is a textbook learner. She's very smart. She's very good at books. She is not so great at people. And I think Dr. Wolf sort of teaches her to see the people instead of like Erica would like see the symptoms on the page instead of like looking up and like taking stock of who the human being is. Uh, and he's a little bit of a rebel, which I think Erica is a little bit like intrigued by. She's attracted to, if we look at like her attraction to Jacob, he's a little bit, you know what I mean? There's something a little dangerous, and Erica is, I think that's something that she's drawn to, even as she would never like do it. She's like, I'd never do it, but also there's something like really interesting about the dangerous people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what about you, Ari?
I think that Dana really, I think she appreciates that Wolf wants to get to know his patients in a different way. I mean, maybe not so much in the pilot. I mean, Dana is extremely judgmental, and I think she's the type of person that's like, if you're not going to meet me where I'm at, I'm gonna develop a point of view pretty early on. But I think what she ends up learning about him is that they actually have a lot of similarities in the sense of like, I think that Dana has this lovely quality where, because she is not the most conventional physician, she sees the patients a little bit more for who they are rather than just a patient. So I think that's kind of like something that really intersects with Wolf's point of view. And what's interesting is that, they approach it very differently, but I think that she has a care and the ability to really see people for like the human being in a way that is helpful to Wolf. And so I think, yeah, I think she appreciates that aspect of his practice, but I think she also just has a really good time making fun of him along the way because he's.
All right, ladies, it's been lovely. I could do this all day. Ashley, one quick question.
Yeah.
What book do you recommend I read behind you?
What do you like? What kind of books do you like?
Nonfiction.
This whole shelf is fantasy, so if you're a fan,
Oh,
then fantasy. But if you like want like non-fantasy, like intellectual books or like poetry or like fun books, I don't know.
quick fantasy. Which one would you pick for me?
I would pick The Name of the Wind. It's really good. It's
Okay.
really good. It's like well written. I mean, you'll be frustrated because there's supposed to be a third book, and there has not been for like a
Mm,
decade. But
okay.
there's a first and a second book. So
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you for taking the time out. I really appreciate it. Love the show.
thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Steve.
All right. Thank you, Chance.
Those were